So yesterday we stopped with the concept of dimensions and dimensional formula, right? So let's recollect. So can someone tell me what are these dimensions and dimensional formula all about? Anybody? So what are the difference between units and dimensions? Why no one is telling? Sure. Listen, when you talk about any physical quantity, when you express the units of it, the units of it are possible in different systems. Like it is possible in the CJ system, MK system, SI, FPA system, and any other system, right? Whereas when you write the same thing in terms of the values or the physical quantities on which the given physical quantity is dependent on, then we will be able to write an expression called as a dimensional formula, right? So yesterday we discussed about velocity, then linear momentum, then force, right? So just to recollect, suppose I tell you the formula for work done is force into displacement. Okay, the formula for work done is force into displacement. So force is dependent on, force is written as mass into acceleration, displacement is written as S, right? So if I ask you to write the dimensional formula of work done, then what will you write as? So what will be the dimensional formula of work done here? What's happening? Why
MLT minus 3. MLT,
so,
MLT
no,
minus 1. MLT minus 1.
I don't want the final expression. How will you write it? Tell me that part. So it depends on mass once, right? It depends on acceleration. Acceleration is displacement
second square
by time square. So m L power 1 t minus 2 into the displacement is again length. So m into L will give me L square t power minus 2. So this is going to be the dimensional formula of work done. So it is m L square t minus 2. The powers 1, 2 and minus 2 are called, what are they called?
Dimensions.
Yes.
How did I get M1, L1 and T minus 2, sir?
T minus 2 because there is acceleration. Mass is m, acceleration is LT minus 2. Yesterday I told you, no? See? Right? So this is how you are going to get. Suppose I ask you what is the dimensional formula of kinetic energy. What will you say? I'm asking you the dimensional formula of kinetic energy. So first you always need to write the formula of it. Formula is half mv square, right? So the dimensional formula of kinetic energy is nothing but the dimensional formula of mass and dimensional formula of velocity square. Okay. So what is the dimensional formula of mass? It is m. So what are all the symbols that you can use? For mass, you can use capital M. For length, you can use capital L. For temperature, you can use capital T. Sorry, for temperature, you can use Kelvin K. For time, you can use capital T. Right? So mass, it is capital M. Velocity is what?
velocity, it's L power 1 T minus 1.
Yes, L T minus 1,
-1.
the whole square. Right? So it will be M L square T minus 2. If you observe, the dimensional formula of kinetic energy and the dimensional formula of work done are the same. ml square T minus 2, ml square T minus 2. So in your lower grade, you would have learned this thing, no? Energy is nothing but the capacity to do work. So whatever work you do will get stored in some form of energy. That is why if you observe, energy and the work are interrelated terms. Okay. So since you understood what is dimensional formula and what are the dimensions of a particular formula, we will be using them for different applications. The first application is nothing but the dimensional analysis. Okay. So this is the most common method. Suppose you forget some formula, no? This dimensional analysis will help you to recollect the formula. Except the fact there are certain drawbacks. The drawbacks we'll discuss at the end. First, let's try to understand what this dimensional analysis is. Okay. So read the statement. The method of obtaining the solutions to several problems in physics by using the formula is called as the dimensional analysis. So the dimensional analysis has three main applications. The first application is to obtain the relation between units of some physical quantity in two different systems. For example, if I ask you what is a unit of length in SI system, you're going to say meter. If I ask what is a SI unit of length in CJ system, you're going to say centimeter. Now, how will you relate both? 1 meter is 10 power 2 centimeter. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. Sorry, not, I'm sorry. So 1 centimeter is equal to 10 power minus 2 meter. Yeah, 1 meter is going to be 100 centimeter, right? So you're going to write it like this. You're able to understand? So centimeter is going to be the CJ's unit, meter is going to be the SI unit. So dimensional analysis has one of the applications where you can find the relation between their units in two different systems of units. Second, to check something called as the dimensional consistency of the equation. So dimensional consistency means like what we did in the previous case. The dimensional formula of work done is ml square T minus 2. The dimensional formula of kinetic energy also ml square T minus 2. Now what you can say is work done and kinetic energy are dimensionally consistent. Okay, that is a term we are going to use. And the third is to derive the equation for physical quantity in terms of other physical quantity. For example, let's say kinetic energy's formula you don't know. But if you know the physical quantities on which it is dependent on, you can actually try to derive its formula. Okay, I will show you everything. So this is what is dimensional analysis all about. The first one is to obtain the relation between units of physical quantities in two different system of units. Okay. See, for example, here in this case, the example that is considered is work. What is the unit of work in MK system? So the first one, right? Let me write the heading. Make a note of it. To obtain the relation between the units of physical quantities in two different system of units. So the first one is, example that is considered as work done. Right? So in MKS system, what is the MKS unit? What is the formula? Sorry, what is the unit of work done? It is joule. It can either be MKS system or SI system. In both the systems, it is joule only. This capital J. In CGS system, we call it as ERG. ERG. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to see 1 joule is how many ergs. Okay. So for that, we need to know the dimensional formula of work done. So what is the dimensional formula of work? Just now we discussed dimensional formula of work is
ml2 T minus 2.
So ml2 T minus 2, right? So it is going to be ml2 T minus 2. So what we can do is we can do a small subdivision like this. MK system, CGS system for you to understand. Okay. See, this method is to show you the application of dimensional analysis. We can do it in shortcut also. But if they ask you in the exam using dimensional analysis, show this, means you have to follow these steps only. So here, mass is measured in MK system, mass is measured in kilogram. So what are all the physical quantities on which work is dependent on? Mass, length, and time. Right. In MK system, mass is measured in kilogram, length is measured in meter, kilogram, second, meter, and time is measured in second.
Seconds.
Okay. Now the thing is, here the mass is measured in what? 1 kilogram in CGS unit. 1 kilogram is how many grams? 10 power 3 grams. Right. So in MK system, the SI unit of length is meter. In CGS system, it will be centimeter. So it will be 10 power 2 centimeter. For time, it is second only. No change. Right. So in MK system, M1 L2 T minus 2, and in CGS system, how should I write? It will be 10 power 3 times M power 1 because the dimensional form. So what are we trying to say? Work done depends on mass once, length twice, and time minus 2 times. Right. So 10 power 3 into mass power 1. L is 10 square L the whole square. Time is T only. So T minus 2. So what I'm going to do is, this will be 10 power 3 into 10 power 4 into 1 M L square T minus 2. You're able to understand this? Right. So this one, right, in MK system, 1 joule will be equal to how much? 10 power 3 into 10 power 4, it will be 10 power 7. This is in the CGS unit. So 1 joule is going to be 10 power 7 erg. You're able to understand? So how you can write it in statement is, MK's unit of work is equal to 10 power 7 times CGS unit of work. Is it clear? So are you guys clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if you're clear with this, now I'm going to give you a question. Find the relation between the SI unit and CGS unit of force using dimensional analysis. So how will you do it?
So SI unit means you have that on table, right? One box in the textbook, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
SI unit is what? SI unit of force is what? What is the SI unit of force? Yes. Kilogram meters per second square. I'm giving you the dependency of physical quantities also. Kilogram newtons per, meter per second square, which is Newton, which is capital N. What is the CGS unit of force? Anybody?
Dyne.
Gram? Yes. It is called dyne. So now your work is to find 1 Newton is equal to how many times?
Sir, I think I have got it.
No, what is the answer?
10 power 5 M1 L1 T minus 2.
Okay, 10 power 5 what? 10 power 5 Newton is 1 dyne, or 1 Newton is 10 power 5 dyne?
1 Newton is 10 power 5 dyne.
That's right. So again, you have to do is MK system. Oh, SI system right here. SI system, CGS system. Okay, SI system is going to be mass in kilogram. So here it will be what? How many times will it be mass? It will be 10 power 3 times, because it is in terms of grams. Here length is in terms of meter. Here it will be 10 square L in terms of centimeter. Time will be in second. Here also time is in second only. So M into, so mass it depends one time, length it depends one time, and second time it depends twice. So ML, M1 L1 T minus 2 is equal to, what should I write on the other side? 10 power 3 into M power 1, 10 square into L power 1 into T power minus 2. So that will be 10 power 5 into M L1 T minus 2. So SI unit of force is equal to 10 power 5 times CGS unit of force. So from this, what you can conclude? 1 Newton will be equal to 10 power 5 dyne. Okay. So this is a simple one. In the 20th one, we'll do the second part. What does the second part say? So to verify the dimensional consistency of an equation connecting different physical quantities. For example, if I ask you to verify, I'm giving you a formula like this, okay? I'm saying kinetic energy is equal to half m square v square. Is this right or wrong?
Wrong.
Wrong. You know this, right? So you know this as wrong because you already know the formula. Okay. Let us assume you didn't know the formula at all. Now what I'm saying is, using dimensional analysis, verify whether this mathematical equation between the physical quantities is right or wrong. Okay, that is what is meant by the dimensional consistency. So how I verify is, so I'll write it like this: for above equation to be right, or I cannot say whether it is right or wrong, for the above equation to be dimensionally consistent, look at the way I'm writing. The dimensional formula of kinetic energy should be equal to the dimensional. So I told you right yesterday, when you put something within a square bracket, it is automatically understood like dimensional formula of that physical quantity. So the dimensional formula of kinetic energy should be equal to the dimensional formula of mass square into the dimensional formula of velocity square. Why didn't I take the half into consideration?
It's a constant. It's not
It's just
part of any fundamental.
it is not a part of it. So it is not a physical quantity, right? Only physical quantities are going to have the units. Okay. So what I will do is I will take LHS. So what is the dimensional formula of kinetic energy? It is known, ml square t minus 2. This one you should remember. Okay. RHS, if I take, what is the dimensional formula of m square into v square? What is the dimensional formula of this? it will be, so dimensional formula of mass is m. So I will write it as m square. What is the dimensional formula of velocity? It is LT minus 1 the whole square. So this will be m square L square T minus 2. So comparing, so here you need not put a bracket like this, okay? You can use a normal bracket also. So comparing LHS and RHS, what can I say? The dimensional formula of kinetic energy is not equal to the dimensional formula of m square and the dimensional formula of v square. So what can you conclude? The above equation is dimensionally inconsistent. Am I clear? So the above formula will be dimensionally inconsistent. Okay. Okay. If you're clear with this, I'll give you a problem. You can try doing it. Verify the dimensional consistency of the equation work done is equal to mgh. So verify the dimensional consistency of the equation W is equal to mgh. So what is the answer? So if I take the LHS, what is the dimensional quantity? Sorry, dimensional formula of work done? M?
ML2T minus 2.
So ML2 T minus 2. Okay. RHS, the dimensional formula of M into dimensional formula of G into dimensional formula of H. What would it be? Dimensional formula of mass is M. Dimensional formula of G is nothing but acceleration due to gravity. So acceleration due to gravity means it is LT minus 2. Acceleration is distance by time square. Height is again L. So what will you get? M into L into L, L2 T minus 2. Since the dimensional formula of W is equal to the dimensional formula of mgh, what can you conclude? The above equation is dimensionally consistent. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is how you verify. Okay. So we saw two applications with respect to dimensional analysis. Now we will see one last application also. So third application is to obtain the equation of physical quantity in terms of other physical quantities. So if suppose you know a particular physical quantity. For example, here what I'm trying to say is, if I tell you find the formula for work done, if I know that it depends on the terms mass, acceleration due to gravity and height, then when you try to derive it, you should get the answer as mgh. Okay, so let's see. In 20, the third one is to obtain the equation for a physical quantity in terms of another physical quantity. Okay. So suppose I tell you something. Let us say kinetic energy is a physical quantity which depends on, so you people know it depends on what? So what does kinetic energy depend on?
Mass and velocity.
Mass and velocity. So kinetic energy is a physical quantity which depends on mass and velocity. So using dimensional analysis, derive an expression for the same. So how do I do it? So if a physical quantity has to be dimensionally consistent, then what should happen? Then the dimensional formula on the left hand side and the right hand side should be the same. Okay. So here what have they told? How to write it mathematically? Observe, because this question will be asked. So kinetic energy is a physical quantity which depends on mass and velocity. So how you write this? Kinetic energy is directly proportional to the mass raised to the power, you don't know how many times. It can be one time, it can be one time, two times, anything of that sort. So it is directly proportional to mass raised to the power A and velocity raised to the power B. I don't know how many times. So our work is to find out what is A and B. Okay, the next step is kinetic energy. When you remove the proportionality symbol, okay, you need to introduce a constant. So let me say the constant is K. Okay, K into M power A and V power B, where K is, look at the way I'm writing, I'm calling it as dimensionless constant. Means it does not have any unit associated with it. It is just a number. What is that number? We don't know. Right? For above equation to be dimensionally consistent, what should happen? The dimensional formula of kinetic energy should be equal to the dimensional formula of mass raised to the power A, the dimensional formula of velocity raised to the power B. Okay. So what is the dimensional formula of kinetic energy? Tell me. M L square
T minus 2.
T minus 2. This will be equal to, again the dimensional formula of M is M only, M power A. M power A. Velocity LT minus 1 power B. Can I write it like this? So this will be equal to m power a, L power b, and t power minus b. So what I should do is comparing both sides. What do I get the value of a as? Here m is raised to the power a, here m is raised to the power 1. So what is the value of a?
1.
1.
So a is 1. Similarly, L is raised to the power b, L is raised to the power 2. So b will be 2. Similarly, if you check the third one also, t is raised to the power minus b, t is raised to the power minus 2. So b is 2. However you compare, it will be the same answer. So let this be equation number 1 after you introduce the constant. When you obtain the value of a, b, let's say you have c also. When you obtain all the values, let us say, let us call that equation as 2. So using 2 in 1, okay, using 2 and 1, what do I get? Kinetic energy will be equal to k times m power a. I wrote it as m power a, but what is the value of a that we have obtained? 1. And velocity, I have written it as power b. What is the value of b that we have obtained? 2. So kinetic energy is equal to k times mv square. Here, if you observe, I didn't write it as half. I can only say that it is some k times mv square. I don't know whether it is 1 by 2 or 1 by 3 or 1 by 4. I don't know anything. That can be found only experimentally. Are you guys able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Right? So is this clear? So if this is clear, I'll give you a question. Okay. Now I'll give you a question, write it down. Force on a particle revolving in a circular path. Okay. Force on a particle revolving in a circular path is dependent on mass, velocity, mass and velocity. Okay, mass, velocity, and radius. Using dimensional analysis, write it down. So using dimensional analysis, obtain expression for force in terms of mass, velocity, and radius.
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
I got the answer right.
Yeah, tell me.
Force is equal to mass into velocity square by r.
Okay, but what about K? I told you to do, no? You have to follow the same steps. So force is equal
Yes, sir.
to,
I forgot.
yeah. So, but what you have got is right. I'll tell you about that force. Rohan, can you tell me the steps that you followed? So you have to literally convert it into the expression. So force is dependent
Here.
on
Mass,
M power.
well, M power A, V power B, and R power C.
Very good. So second step, F is equal to proportionality should be removed.
I forgot remove proportionality, sir.
No problem.
I did that.
But remember that K M power A, V power B into R power C. So this should always be considered as
Yes,
1.
sir.
Then for dimensional what? For dimensional
Consistency.
the dimensional formula of F should be equal to the dimensional formula of M raised to the power A, of V raised to the power B, and R raised to the power C. So what is the dimensional formula of F?
ML square T minus 2.
No,
MLT minus 2.
it is MLT minus 2. Because mass into acceleration is equal to right hand side. So K times K will be a dimensionless constant. So it will be M power A, then
V
LT
power
minus
L
1
T
power
minus
B.
very good.
L power C.
That's it. So K into M power, see, you should always write it in capital M, okay? M power A into L power, what should I write?
L power
L power B.
B.
L power B
B
plus
plus
C.
C. B
It
plus
is L,
C.
very good. L power B plus C and T power minus B.
Minus B.
So MLT minus 2. Comparing both the sides, I get the value of A as
1.
B plus C as 1. B plus C comes out to be 1. And minus B comes out to be minus 2. So B comes out to be 2.
2.
If B is 2, if I substitute it here, then what will be the value of C?
Minus 1.
Minus 1. So I'll take this as equation 2 using 2 in 1. What do I get? F will be equal to K times M power A, V power B. B is 2, R power C minus 1. So this will be K into mv square divided by R. So this is what is the force. Okay. Actually, the value of K is 1, that you can find it experimentally. As you progress with the chapters, you will understand. So the main reason I'm teaching you this concept is because when I explain about the SI unit and dimensional formula for other physical quantities in the other chapters, you should be able to verify whether it is right or not. Okay, so you should have a clear understanding. The name of this force is called as centripetal force.
Sir, can you explain the B plus C in that one?
Which one? Here B plus C is 1, no? Compare both the sides. L is raised to the power B plus C. Here L is raised to the power 1.
How did L become?
Because L power B into L power C. This one, when you expand it, you will get it as L power B into T power minus B. You have an L power C here. L power B into L power C, the powers will get added, no? And the base is same. Mithun, got it?
Yes, sir.
So this force is called as centripetal force. If at all in your chemistry you are learning about the atomic structure, okay, if you have started, or if you recollect the concept of Bohr's atomic model, do you remember this from your 9th standard?
Yes, sir.
So in Bohr's atomic model, how do the electrons revolve? The electrons revolve around the nucleus in a circular orbit. So for any particle to revolve in a circular orbit, what is the necessary force? It is the centripetal force. So the planets revolve around the sun. It is because of this centripetal force. You're able to understand? Okay, so this is going to be the formula. Anyways, in the fourth chapter, we will see how to derive all these things. Okay, the value of K is actually 1. So, though dimensional analysis helps us in many aspects, there are certain drawbacks associated with it. Let's see what the drawbacks are. Okay. So, what are the drawbacks are also called as the limitations. Say, let's see what are the limitations of the dimensional analysis. So, in any dimensional formula containing MLT, we get most of the equations by equating the powers of ML and T. See, sometimes what happens is there might be physical quantities which are dependent on other quantities as well. For example, when I told you about work done, what is the formula of work done? I told you it is force what did I say work done is? Force into
Displacement.
force into
Displacement.
displacement, right? But if you actually look at the if you look at the actual formula of work done, it is not only force into displacement, it is force into displacement into cos theta. Okay, but since this theta is not falling under the 7 fundamental quantities of the SI unit, we cannot derive this using the dimensional formula. So we have to go according to the actual physics. So that is what the first point is trying to say. No, sorry, no, that's not the point, but I'm sorry about it. So in dimensional formula containing ML and T, we get at most 3 equations by equating the powers of ML and T. Hence, dimensional analysis cannot be used to derive the exact form of physical relation if a physical quantity depends upon more than these 3 physical quantities. See, generally till now what were we doing? When we wrote on the left hand side, MLT minus 2, on the right hand side, M power A, L power B, T power, let's say minus B, something like this. We had all the physical quantities which were mainly dependent on mass, length and time alone. Right. So what were we doing? We were comparing the powers on both the sides and we derived the formula. But what will happen is, if suppose you have a 4th physical quantity, it will become difficult for us. So you will not be able to derive. For example, if I give you a question like this, there is a particular quantity which is dependent on, there is a physical quantity X, I don't know what it is. It is dependent on mass. I'm saying it is dependent on acceleration and it is dependent on current and temperature. If I tell you something like this, how many physical quantities will get involved? Mass is M, acceleration is LT minus 2, current is ampere and temperature is Kelvin. So if you have these many quantities on which a particular physical quantity is dependent on, using dimensional analysis, it is difficult for us to derive what is the relation. Okay, that is one of the drawbacks. Second, okay. So the second is 1 minute. Information about the dimensionless constant is difficult. For example, what do you mean by dimensionless constant? This K. So we don't have any information about this K. What is the actual formula of kinetic energy? It is half mv square. But that can be derived using the physics, using the equations of motion. If by now you should have learnt v square minus u square is equal to 2as. Using this equation, we can derive the expression for kinetic energy. But without this expression, I will not be able to say that K is half. I cannot say K is equal to half. So that is one more drawback with respect to the dimensional analysis. Okay. And the third one is, the third drawback is, if suppose there is any physical quantity which is dependent on the trigonometric functions, okay, you cannot derive. You cannot derive using the dimensional analysis. For example, I would have never known that it is work is dependent on cos theta. If I rely only upon the dimensional analysis, I would have never known it depends on cos theta. Okay. And the fourth is, if this method cannot be used, if at all you have any constant which is already having a unit or a dimension. See, for example, here, when I wrote about K, I stressed on one important point. I told you that K should not have any dimension. In your 9th standard, you would have learned this formula. If I'm so G M1 M2 divided by R squared. Did you learn this formula? It is the force of
Yes,
Newton's
sir.
law of attraction,
Yes,
right? In this, what happens is this G is also constant of proportionality only. Actually, what happens is you would have learned like this. If force is force is directly proportional to the product of their masses. Force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance of separation between them. So F will be directly proportional to M1 into M2 divided by R square, and F will be equal to G M1 M2 divided by R square. Here, what happened? When I removed the proportionality symbol, I introduced a constant which does not have any unit. Whereas here, when you remove the proportionality symbol, you are introducing a constant which already has dimensions. So if I ask you to derive this particular expression using dimensional analysis, you can never do it. And why is it happening? It is not because of your mistake. It is because you don't know what are the dimensions of G. Because the constant that you have introduced has some dimensions. That is what they're saying. This method is not useful if a constant of proportionality is not dimensionless. Are you able to understand? So these are all the drawbacks. So with this, dimensional formulae and dimensional analysis is over. Okay. So the next important topic that is left out is significant figures and how to round off. That I can complete it tomorrow also, not an issue. We will do some, yeah, tell me.
Sir, can you show that Fs is equal to F equal to MLT minus 2? That's sum, sir. Last sum which we did.
This one.
Explain it again, sir. I cannot understand it.
Nothing, see, what I did is, okay, I'll put tick. Did you understand this step? The first step, did you understand?
Sir,
Second,
sir,
this one?
sir.
Okay. So dimensional formula of F, this thing, MLT minus 2, this you should know for sure. You can ask me, sir, how am I supposed to know it before itself? Some basic formulae, see, you will not get questions like which are very tough, at least for the beginning tests. Okay. Or if they ask you something like that, they should give you the dimensional formula. For example, they will not ask you about Planck's constant and all those things. Okay. So simple formula. Force, you know it as mass into acceleration. So first you should always write its SI unit. SI unit or CGS unit, anything. So mass is measured in kilogram. Acceleration is measured as meter per second square. So kilogram is mass. So M. Meter is for length. L. Second is for time. So T minus 2. So that is why I directly wrote it as MLT minus 2 is equal to K into the dimensional formula of M is capital M. Dimensional formula of V is LT minus 1. It is raised to the power B, and dimensional formula of radius is L. It is raised to the power C. Then left hand side, I'm not disturbing. Right hand side, what it is K. I'm collecting all the M terms. M is present only here. So I don't have anywhere else. So I wrote it as M power A. Whereas L, what happens is L is present. So L is present here and here. So here it is present. The first time it is present for L power B. The second time it is present for L power C. So L power B into L power C is L power B plus C. That is what I wrote here. Then T power minus 1 raised to the power minus B. It is T power minus B. Okay, now I started comparing the terms on both sides. Here it is M is raised to the power A, M is raised to the power 1. B plus C, L is raised to the power B plus C. Here L is raised to the power 1. T is raised to the power minus B, T is raised to the power minus 2. Then I compared, calculated the value, and I substituted that. That's it. What is your doubt in this?
Understood, sir.
Now understood? Okay. So this is how you apply. So dimensional analysis. Okay. So I've sent you a worksheet. Did you people receive it? In WhatsApp, there is a worksheet. Which
Yes, sir.
Right. So I've received it. No. Now tell me, can you people do the 14th question? Can you do the 14th? The 14th one is the gravitational force between two masses F is given by the expression F is equal to G m1 m2 divided by R square, where capital G is a universal gravitational constant. What are the dimensions of G? Actually, the question should have been, what is the dimensional formula of G? Okay. So how to do this? So F is given as G m1 m2 divided by R square. So this expression is fixed. They are not asking us to verify the dimensional consistency. It is dimensionally consistent. So the dimensional formula of F should be equal to the dimensional formula of G, the dimensional formula of m1, dimensional formula of m2 divided by the dimensional formula of R square. I hope there is no doubt in this, right? So what is the dimensional formula of F? It is mlt minus 2 is equal to the dimensional formula of G. That is what we need to find, so don't disturb it. The dimensional formula of m1 is m. The dimensional formula of m2 is m divided by dimensional formula of L square. Now dimensional formula of G will be equal to mlt minus 2 divided by m into m is m square into L square goes to the other side as product L square. Right. So what will it be? M divided by m square, m power minus 1, L into L square, L
L
L
power
cube.
3,
L cube.
T minus 2. So what option is matching?
Option A, sir.
Option
A.
Option A is matching. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next. So 15th one. So according to quantum theory, the energy of photon of frequency f is given as E is equal to h into f, where h is Planck's constant. What is the dimensional formula for h? Here, see, they have given you the expression, then they are asking you to derive it. You are not expected to remember this. That is what I meant previously. Okay. So 15th was energy is equal to h into f. But I told you already, energy and work done have the same dimensions. So what should I write? So I will write it like this. The dimensional formula of E is equal to the dimensional formula of H into the dimensional formula of F. What is the dimensional formula of E? M L square
square T minus 2.
T minus 2. The dimensional formula of H is what you need to find. What is the dimensional formula of frequency? Frequency is defined as
T
the
minus
number of
1.
Yes, it is T minus 1. The dimensional formula of F is T minus 1. See, for those who don't know what is frequency, I'm just repeating it. It is the number of oscillations per unit time. So the SI unit of frequency is 1 by second. So it depends on time. The reciprocal of time is what is called as frequency. Okay, it will be T minus 1. So what is the dimensional formula of H? It will be M L square T
T power 1.
Minus 1.
So what option is right? Option B. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Next.
Yes,
So
sir.
the dimensional formula of light year. So the dimensional formula of light year is length. Light year is the distance. Okay. So don't worry about it. That we'll see later. What is the dimensional formula of solid angle? So what is the SI unit of? It is not SI unit. What is the unit of solid angle?
Steradian.
Steradian, right? So if you look at steradian, that is a supplementary unit only. So it does not depend on any of the 7 fundamental quantities. So what should be the answer? I told you. It does not depend on any of the 7 fundamental quantities.
Option D.
Option D, sir.
Option D. So it is a dimensionless quantity. So it has no dimension. Okay. So what I will do is, in tomorrow's class, we will start with few problems from here. Okay, I will do some problems based on dimension because that is important throughout your physics. Once that is done, I will teach you what is significant figures and how to round off. With that, this chapter will be over. Okay. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.